everyone. Thanks so much for joining Insights Outreach today. If you've participated in one of our previous sessions this year, welcome back and thanks for sticking with us. I hope you found some value in our conversations about our funding programs, DHS mission needs, and alternative paths to funding to get Homeland security solutions to the market faster. If this is your first time joining us, welcome, and not a problem. You picked the perfect session. We're actually celebrating the end of the year and the end of our 2021 series here by providing some information for everyone on 4 open partnership opportunities. We'll have a little bit of a recap on what we've been talking about over our 9 previous webinars, but we definitely want to make sure that we're passing on brand new information on ways you can work with S&T headed into 2022. So I am Megan Mail. I'm the Director of Industry Partnerships at S&T, and I'm very happy to be able to kick off our last Insights Outreach webinar of 2021 by providing some information about industry partnerships. So our division at S&T is focused on 3 main areas. First, we love to get out and meet with industry through events like these, other conferences and webinars and speaking opportunities. We're really focused on bringing wider awareness about S&T and making it easier for new innovators to hear about us and work with us. We're not interested in just dropping, 100-page solicitations on sam.gov and, fingers crossed somebody finds us. We really are putting in the work to meet you, to get to know you, to hear about your technology and promote our business opportunities. Diversifying the partnerships that S&T has and the types of entities that we are working with is a priority for us. Second, we have a number of innovative ways of doing business, and you'll hear about several of them today. And finally, we are focused on providing the support to ensure that the outcomes of S&T's R&D efforts reach the end users and the commercial market. So one of the best parts of having conversations about S&T's business opportunities is being able to promote them to so many different types of businesses and individuals. We know that R&D is not a one-size-fits-all, and I think our 6 main innovation programs on this slide really reflect that. There really is something here for everyone. So our long-range broad agency announcement, for example, it's our standing open invitation to the scientific and technical communities to propose novel ideas that address these high level mission area needs of DHS components. So we put those out there and we're looking for anyone and everyone to come back and tell us how they would address them. And that opportunity is open to large businesses. It's open to our academic partners. It really does run the gamut. Another example is our Small Business Innovation Research Program. We're spurring small business ideation, prototype development, and commercialization of technology specifically for Homeland security. We also have our Silicon Valley Innovation Program, which is reaching out to the startup community to harness commercial research and development for government applications. So we are focused on the gamut of potential partners to work with us. If you aren't familiar with our programs, I really encourage you to take a look at this list, look at where the checkboxes are and the types of innovators we are reaching via each program. Take a look at our website and see where our requirements, our programs, and our open topics line up with your research areas of interest and potential solutions that you have. So we want to know where those matches happen and work with you further. So that was a very quick overview of industry partnerships. And now we're really going to jump into the main portion of today's webinar. And that is the details on 4 open opportunities for you to potentially partner with S&T. We have the full team here today to tell you about each program, as well as some specifics about each open opportunity. Everyone who briefs next, our 4 program managers, will be back at the end of today's session for a Q&A. So please send in your questions, put them in the Q&A box. We'll all be back to answer any lingering questions you have as we close out the series. So first up, I want to introduce Melissa O. She's the Managing Director of our Silicon Valley Innovation Program, who will be highlighting the Open Human Performance and Resiliency topic call. Melissa, over to you.
Great, thanks, Megan. As Megan mentioned, I'm Melissa O, Managing Director for the Silicon Valley Innovation Program. Thanks for taking the time to be here today and learning about our program. So SVIP is a program specifically designed to work with the startup community, specifically small businesses who have less than 200 employees. And that actually includes all the subsidiaries and parent companies as part of the startup. Our program is, as I mentioned, it's designed to work with startups. And so in many cases, that's what we call in government non-traditional companies. This is really targeting getting to those commercial, emerging commercial technology companies that are developing products for the broader marketplace, for consumers, for enterprise, for commercial customers. And so our expectation is that they have not had any past federal government contract experience, whether in terms of FAR-based, that's federal acquisition regulation, those types of contracts and grants totaling over $1 million within the last 12 months. And so that really is a unique subset of innovators out there, but that's why this program is specifically designed to lower the barrier of entry for those companies. And so typically where we focus SVIP is those companies who have that commercially focused product roadmap, but that their product roadmaps and the solutions that they're developing have a lot of alignment with some of the DHS needs that we have that we're looking for as well. And so one way to look at it is, you're focused commercially, you're trying to develop your commercial product, you're a pre-A, pre-B series type startup with an early beta prototype, but you see that DHS has these needs, and that if you open the aperture slightly by incorporating DHS's requirements into your product roadmaps, then you can gain DHS as a customer as well. And we actually are able to fund both US companies as well as international companies. The program itself is offering up to $2 million over 24 months. And so that's in terms of thinking along the lines of like, how mature is your product? How far along are you in your beta prototyping? And are you at the point where you can bake in DHS's needs and requirements into that product so that by the time it reaches the marketplace, DHS can be a customer? So the program is structured in 4 phases. And so each of those phases has about 200 or 50 to 200K per phase. And that's over those 3 to 4 tranches of non-dilutive funding phases. So we're not taking any equity. We're not interested in your core IP. We're really just trying to help ensure that there are products in the marketplace that can meet DHS's needs as well. And so that's where our funding, our non-recurring engineering funding can help build those features into your product. And so the 4 phases that you would go through are, the first phase is you would demonstrate a proof of concept. Basically, you've got your early beta prototype. You see that DHS has this requirement and this need, and that first phase is an opportunity to just do a minimum viable product, a low level proof of concept to see whether or not you can do that. You can bake in DHS's requirements. If you're successful, then we'll invite you to phase 2, in which you will be expected to fully bake in DHS's requirements into that prototype. And so that by the end of that phase, you're going to demonstrate a pilot ready prototype. In phase 3, we're going to, and so if you're successful in phase 2, we'll invite you to phase 3, and that's where we'll iterate on the product, but that will be an opportunity where we throw an independent testing team at the product to not only verify that it says what it's supposed to do and meets all the security and privacy parameters that we expect, but also helps to harden the solution, helps to help you develop a better product in the end, and that's on our dime. And so that's one way to think about it, is that we're a partnership in terms of collaborating to build us a better product for the marketplace for DHS. And if you're successful after phase 3, you've incorporated any kind of feedback that may have come out of phase 3, we'll invite you to phase 4, where that's the true opportunity to pilot it in an operational environment and really kick the tires, make sure that it's actually ready for prime time, ready ready by the end of phase 4 for us to acquire, buy, license, whatever that technology may be. And so that said, there will be opportunity to interact with the end user, the operational customer, throughout the whole phase, throughout the whole process. They're involved in the pitching, in the pitch evaluation and review from the get-go. So the idea is that we are actually working with our operational customers to identify what those needs are, so that you are helping build a product that meets their needs in the field, and we can get products out to the field a lot faster. Those types of contracts that we use are called other transaction agreements, and our process for streamlining the time to contract has allowed us to make those contracts in about 45 days. So a lot faster time frame for getting under contract with startups, and the way the way we put out our needs are specifically, we've got an operational agency within DHS that has a requirement, has a need. We believe that there is emerging commercial technologies available to meet those needs. And so we'll put out that ask to the startup community and ask you all to apply. And so if I could get to the next slide, our current opportunity is the human performance and resiliency topic. This specific area is of huge interest and need to a number of our DHS operators. As you can imagine, the pandemic has exacerbated a lot of conditions, but in general, our operators, in particular Customs and Border Protection in the field, they experience a lot more injury and sickness. And so what we're looking for is tools to help those agents, those officers better help themselves identify when they're hitting a red flag. What we're trying to do with this topic is to keep them to the left of crisis and help them bring up indicators of when they need to seek help. And so we're looking for 3 specific areas: biometric wearables, sleep recovery and enhancement, and AI-enabled mobile app. Those could be complementary elements of a single solution that you have, that you're working on, that you're developing, that you want to put in front of us. You want us to know that you're working, that you have available, but that you need to tweak something about it, and that's where you're applying for our funding to do that tweaking. And so we'll work with you to arrive at a solution that is beneficial for you and for us, because what we want to see is these products hitting the marketplace so that DHS can buy them from the marketplace. We have a lot more information than what I've just covered here through those links on the slide. We've got our QR code where you can get to our website, where you can find out more information about the program, eligibility, as well as information that we shared on our Human HPR Industry Day last month. Our first deadline is on January 13th. So make sure that if you have a product that you're interested in getting in front of us, please send us an application. There's more details at any of those links of how to do that. Please make sure you let us know what you've got. I'll be around for questions. If you've got questions, put them in the Q&A, and we'll be back later for the Q&A panel. And with that, I'll hand it over to my colleague, Kalpana.
Thanks, Melissa. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kalpana Reddy. I head up S&T's Technology Transfer and Commercialization branch, and I'm here today to talk to you about our Homeland Security Startup Studio program. It's actually perfect timing because we just kicked off the 2022 cohort for the Homeland Security Startup Studio. We had our launch event last week with our partner FedTech. The goal of the Homeland Security Startup Studio is somewhat unique. We're trying to identify, accelerate, and deliver commercial applications of technologies from US government laboratories and research centers to raise awareness of the Homeland Security mission, but also to ensure that technologies that are relevant to our mission actually reach the market. The program pairs teams of entrepreneurs with promising federally funded technologies to assess their commercialization potential and move these technologies to market. As you can see from the slide, the program is divided into 2 phases, and it's designed to pair teams of entrepreneurs with promising federally funded technologies to assess their commercialization potential and move these technologies to market. Each team is built around 2 to 3 aspiring entrepreneurs who have broad and diverse backgrounds and expertise in technology, engineering, and business. The teams receive expert training and experiential learning from dedicated coaches and mentors over the course of 18 weeks. The two-phase program is very well designed. During the first phase, the teams learn foundational entrepreneurial skills to quickly assess potential use cases for their matched technologies. The curriculum includes weekly evening sessions where the teams receive training, report on progress, and practice pitching their technologies for mentors and coaches. The sessions include lectures on lean programming and spin-out topics such as fundraising, intellectual property, business models, and customer outreach. The teams also engage in stakeholder interviews to learn how to navigate the FedTech ecosystem and help identify the problem solution fit for their technologies. Some teams will then move into phase 2 of the program, where the participants focus on forming early stage companies to commercialize their technologies. Program coaches and mentors help guide the teams in navigating crucial formation steps from pitching and refining their pitches to licensing their technologies or exploring other collaboration or funding opportunities. Phase 2 content is specifically customized for the teams and their technologies. For the first startup studio, FedTech assessed over 450 technologies, which were sourced from federal labs and academic institutions. And we actually then down selected to 10 commercially promising technologies that aligned with our Homeland Security mission. These 10 technologies were then the basis for the teams. FedTech also recruited widely to find the right entrepreneurs to match up with these teams. And we eventually located 30 promising entrepreneurs who then were assigned to 10 teams that participated in the 2021 Homeland Security Startup Studio. 5 teams made it through that 18-week program by demonstrating a viable path to company formation and technology commercialization. The cohort culminated with a public demo day where the 5 teams presented their progress in forming companies and licensing their technologies to a diverse audience comprised of VCs, Homeland Security experts, and others at the Homeland Security Startup Studio 21 Converge event. We're going to be posting a link to that event in the chat, and it's also included in the slide deck. These teams featured a broad array of experts across various fields, and I'm happy to report that all 5 teams continue to build their companies and advance their technologies to benefit the Homeland Security mission and beyond. And just with a quick point in terms of the composition of the teams, 81% of those who participated were women or people of color. And this was critically important to DHS as we tried to emphasize inclusive innovation as well as diversity in our partners and ensuring that there's broad-based opportunity for commercialization of technologies to support the Homeland Security mission. We have stayed in touch with the teams and we continue to monitor their progress and provide support as needed, as we are always going to be invested in their success. Next slide, please. So let's turn to 2022 and the current version of the Homeland Security Startup Studio. This year's program is going to run from January through July of 2022. The application period is now open. Entrepreneurs are encouraged to participate and submit their applications by January 15th, 2022. I would just note that participating in this program requires commitment. On average, entrepreneurs are expected to spend roughly 20 hours a week supporting their cohorts and their teams, and this includes participating on weekends and in the evenings. The success of this program is really linked to the participation and engagement with the inventors and the entrepreneurs. There's no substitute for passion, and I think that's what really translates into the success of the program. As I mentioned, recruiting is underway. FedTech is currently accepting applications, and we've noted the deadline again is January 15th, 2022. The link to the application is provided and we will include it in the chat as well. As part of the application process, the first step, of course, is to fill out the application. You will then be contacted by FedTech to arrange for a video interview. Over the next 2 to 3 weeks, FedTech will be reviewing written and video applications, and then we'll be reaching out to selected applicants to confirm their progression to the next stage of the process. At that point, more specific information about the program, the dates and logistics will be shared with applicants. Again, each cohort will have its own set of unique curated technologies, and FedTech will coordinate the arrangements to build out the teams. First round interviews are going to occur shortly after the receipt of applications, and final technology specific interviews will take place approximately 1 month before the start of the program. If you have any questions about the application process, please feel free to reach out to my office at t2c@hq.dhs.gov, and we'll do our best to answer your question or direct you to the appropriate resource. I would strongly encourage everyone on today's webinar to consider applying for this program. It is quite a unique opportunity. S&T is ready to work with you and see what great ideas you bring to the table. We've included a list of resources where you can get more information on the Homeland Security Startup Studio program, including information about last year's event. Those links are on the slide, and again, will be included in the chat. And with that, I'm going to close out my remarks, and I'm going to pass it on to our next presenter, Kathleen Kenyon. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kopina. I'm Kathleen Kenyon. I am the lead for prize competitions for DHS. And I want to talk about prize competitions. They're really a great way for us to engage directly with you, the crowd, who can help us solve some unique challenges that DHS is having or help your community. In the past, we've done about 10 prize competitions. Each of them are pretty unique, and they have their own rules and, of course, money attached to them. And sometimes not just money, but also some opportunities to work with DHS, either speaking opportunities or even mentorship. So over the last 5 years, we've engaged with all walks of life, academia, large, small businesses, startup communities, and citizen inventors that have a great idea. So if you're an inventor, you're thinking about a great idea, you've got a great solution, you know that it fits with our topics for a prize competition, please enter our competition as a contestant. So I want to talk about a few of the prizes as an example we've done in the past. The first one is opioid detection, and that prize competition was focused on detecting illicit opioids in the international mail system. It was a pretty big prize, so you can win lots of money for prizes, and it was $1.55 million as the total prize pool. We actually are still working with the 3 of the highest top winning prize winners from that, and that is with our operational customer, who is Customs and Border Protection. And so that's a great prize. It was really about technology development, and we can use prizes for tech development or prizes for ideations as well. And then the next one I want to talk about is digital wallets. And that prize was a little bit smaller, but it was unique in the sense that we were looking for a user-friendly interface for those who are developing digital wallets for blockchain applications. And our customers were obviously some in the US government, like State Department, and also our US Immigration and Citizen group that was looking at using digital wallets to identify people. And in some cases, those user interfaces are a little bit challenging for the public to use. So we actually entered a prize competition for designers, freelance designers who are developing user interfaces that could be integrated into technology developers who are looking at blockchain. The prize was about $25,000. Doesn't seem like that much, but what we really wanted to do was highlight the prize winners in a public way and include them in the standards and development bodies that are doing blockchain and user interfaces and authentication. So that prize was actually with our with the Melissa O's group on the Silicon Valley Innovation Program. And it was a way for us to reach deeper into the community of designers and reach out to those that we don't usually talk to through our communications. The third one is the Ready for Rescue prize. This prize was really interesting because we actually did it with the Coast Guard. It was all about saving people faster who've gone overboard. 5 finalists entered the last phase of that prize, and the Coast Guard actually flew planes and boats along the water to see if the technology prototypes were working. It was a technology prototype prize. That prize winnings was a great amount of money. I think it was about $300,000 as a total prize. One of the finalists is actually in a licensing deal and talking to different companies about licensing their technology. The last prize I just want to mention is the Power Passenger Prize. That prize was with our Transportation Security Administration, and it was all about TSA screening and ways to make it a better passenger experience. That prize had several categories underneath it, and we are still working with those prize winners. So that is the prize. If I can get the next slide. I wanted to mention today's announcement. We launched a new prize competition based upon climate change in September. And that prize was looking at how to combat the extreme heat that is facing the United States. We're seeing high temperatures. We're seeing higher temperatures combined with disasters that are increasing people's sickness and people having difficulties surviving with extreme heat in the United States. This is really an echo challenge to look at great cooling technology. So if you have a solution that you're thinking about developing and you've been working on this for the last few months or so, please submit that idea to us. We're looking to see how those cooling solutions could counter that extreme heat, help your community. And that prize competition, we extended it to give you plenty of time to apply for it. It's now extended to February 24th to submit your idea and enter as a contestant. And the prize has 4 categories. The first is helping first responders. The second is cooling households or homes. So if you're got a whiz-bang idea or a life hack when it comes to how to cool your home, submit your solution. It also is personal use. So how do you cool down people who are experiencing extreme heat and causing sickness and illness? And the third one is how do you cool large populations that might be displaced by natural disasters or disadvantaged populations. So those are the 4 categories. Your solution needs to be applicable to one of those categories. And you can submit your idea to us. The way the prize challenge works is there actually are 2 stages. The first stage is submit your idea. We're going to pick the top 15. And each of those ideas or solutions gets $5,000 each. And then you would automatically advance to the next stage of that prize competition. The next stage is looking more at how does it apply to those 4 areas I mentioned. Does it have a climate neutral type of criteria attached to it, and a business plan. So we're looking to see how your solution would stack up against the other submissions we received. If you're a top winner, you have you could win $50,000. Second place is $30,000. And we're looking to announce the prize winners in March for the finalists, and then the prize winners in May. So first is March, which would be the finalists. The second is May, which would be the winners. So we're really looking to get your ideas. It's a great way to engage with us directly. Almost anyone can apply. The only stipulation on our prize challenges is you must be a U.S. citizen, a U.S. entity, or have a status or permanent residency in the United States. So that's a cooling solution challenge. If you have any questions about it, let us know. It's really easy to enter the prize. Send us an email with your idea, and you include either a 3-minute video or a 3-page paper that describes your idea, and we will confirm that we received your prize submission with a response back. If you have any questions about the prize, it's all listed on our website, the prize website for DHS. The link is here. And also on challenge.gov, which is the US government's prize competition website, where all prizes are located. So if you're interested in other prize challenges, you can find them there as well. If you have any questions at all, there is also a link on our website to ask a question of the prize competition team, and that's the prize authority at dhs.gov. So please let us know if you have any questions at all. We'll be happy to help you out. And I am going to go ahead and turn the microphone over to Dusty Lang.
Thank you, Kathleen. My name is Dusty Lang. I'm the director of the DHS SBIR program. The DHS SBIR program was established in 1982 by Congress. They understood that small businesses often had a hard time competing to get federal government contracts, but they also knew that the small businesses really played an important role in providing innovative technology solutions and ideas, and were agile in their approach. So they said, well, any agency that has more than $100 million in extramural funding must have an SBIR program, and that funding must go to small businesses. For SBIR, that is defined as 500 persons or less. Congress also wanted the small businesses to be able to really leverage the innovations that they had produced under the program. So they said, we're going to make this non-dilutive funding. So every SBIR awardee gets full SBIR data rights, including the intellectual property for contracts, the work under the SBIR contracts that they've performed. And the other part of this is they wanted to make sure, hey, this is going to have a great economic impact. Let's make sure these are US small businesses. So it's a fantastic program, which is structured in 3 phases. It all starts with the collection of topics internally. So we will do a topic call internally. We'll ask folks to provide us with ideas for which we can go out to small businesses. And instead of telling you what we want you to do, we ask you, hey, we have this challenge that we've not yet been able to solve. We're looking for your ideas on how you would approach that. From there, we will receive proposals for phase 1s. Those are typically 5 months and about $150,000 worth of funding, and we'll generally award up to around 3 phase 1s per topic. The job for the small business in this is to provide concept feasibility in this phase. We're looking to make sure that the idea that's being proposed has actually got some merit to it, and that it actually would be able to solve the problem that we're pursuing. We then will have another competitive phase going to phase 2. We typically down select from there, and we're looking at phase 2 for a $1 million effort over 24 months to be able to develop a prototype to be able to demonstrate the capability that's being proposed. From there, we are always looking for this to graduate out of the SBIR program. So that would be called phase 3 anytime it's received non-SBIR dollars. It's called commercialization, and we certainly hope they get to the commercialization, but any additional funding, and whether it's further R&D or test and evaluation, is considered phase 3. The great part about this is that at phase 3, it can be done at a directed award, meaning no further competition is required. So the competition in the phase 1 and the phase 2 satisfies that competitive requirement. And that goes across all federal agencies. So if you've developed an SBIR under phase 1 or phase 2 with DHS and the Department of Navy is interested in it, the Department of Navy can do a directed award with you for that technology. So on the right of the slide you're looking at now, I wanted to show some of the metrics for the program and show that, this is a competitive program. So we are looking for the best and most innovative ideas to go forward. Often in phase 1, I'm looking for a good portfolio of, hey, we may be able to pursue some technology ideas that could push the technology a little bit further and may have a better chance of being able to be successful because there isn't as much of a risk. But I also think there's a lot of value in being able to really make a leap and even take on more risks sometimes if that could give us a bigger leap in capability. So this program is good for either of those types of approaches. And as you can see from the numbers, it does result in some valuable commercialization, and this is benefit to the small businesses, our economy, and to the federal government in terms of capability. So as I said, this all starts at the topics, and I'm sure you're wondering, how do I participate? So the good news is that we currently have the pre-solicitation for our 22 calendar year pre-solicitation out. So you'll see there are 11 topics that are posted right now on sam.gov. The top 7 of those topics are topics that were collected and posted within the S&T Directorate, and the bottom 4 were collected and posted by the Countering Weapons of Mass Destruction Office. The requirements for the submission is a little bit different for those 2 different topic areas, so make sure you read the directions very carefully. And right now, during the pre-solicitation, which goes until December 14th, you can directly email topic managers and ask questions to help clarify the need and the direction for the topic. They can't provide you a, hey, you should do this or you should do that. That's up to you. That's what we're coming to you for, but they can help make sure that what you think we're supposed to be targeting is where we're going. And the good news is those conversations will stay between you and them for this period. As you can see, the solicitation estimated open is on December 15th. And under that, it says another due date for the questions. These questions are handled differently. Once the solicitation goes to open, we can accept questions until January 3rd, but those questions will all be collected and answers will be collected, and then everything will be posted on sam.gov. So everything that is asked and answered is going to be viewable to the entire public. So if you have a question that you want to make sure, hey, this may kind of give up a element of what I want to pursue, you want to make sure that you go out and look at these topics now and ask those questions now. The only way that information would be posted publicly is if it's a fundamental piece of the topic that we realize, oh, this is information that everybody should have. So it's a great time to take advantage of this opportunity. And so keep an eye out for the solicitation open and pay attention to the dates for when it's due and the times. And we're really looking forward to being able to see some of the innovative solutions that will help us be in a better place to meet the DHS mission needs. So thank you. And with that, I am going to turn it back over to Megan.
Thanks, Dusty, and everyone for all the great information. I want to bring everyone back on briefly to spend just a few minutes talking about success. As I mentioned earlier, at S&T, we're really committed to ensuring that our R&D, isn't occurring in a vacuum, and that the end results are making positive operational and market impacts. And each of the programs that you've heard from today approaches that a little bit differently. And I think that context may be helpful when you're considering a potential partnership with S&T and where you fit. So I'm going to ask each of you to answer these questions, and I'll start with Melissa. But the first question I have is, how do you in your program measure success? What's your intended end product, or how does your program get you to the outcomes that you're hoping to make a positive impact across DHS?
That's a great question. For SVIP, I kind of touched on it earlier in my presentation, but the way we look at measuring success is by working with early stage commercial startups who already have on their roadmap a plan to commercialize a product. What we're looking for is basically a commercialized product by that company reaching the marketplace that also is something that DHS can purchase. And so the way we look at that is we want our operators to be able to buy directly from the marketplace. And so the expectation is that the companies are going to be able to commercialize, scale, and basically sell a product to anybody, including DHS. And we have the program set up so that companies or so that our operators can buy direct without additional competition. And so fielding the products into the field from a commercially developed solution is the way we measure success.
Great. And Kalpana, what does success look like for the startup studio?
It's a little bit different. It's a unique program, and commercialization is an exact science. So our goal is to inspire interest and engagement in working with Homeland Security related technologies, participating in the program to fully map out a go-to-market strategy that's viable, where you fully considered potential use cases and applications, and then just hope that they're able to execute and translate as part of that program. It's a very new program for DHS, so we don't have hard statistics, but so far the engagement has been very promising, and we're hoping that it's going to translate into real defined success stories.
Great. And Kathleen, you mentioned that every prize we run is unique, but how, if you had to sum it up, how would you summarize success for prize competitions?
Yeah, I think the biggest success for a prize competition is whether we got an idea or a technology development that happened, or a tech prototype that we want it to be used by a DHS operator. So if the idea is starting to generate and we're starting to get some glue there, we want like a TSA or a Customs and Border Protection or a Coast Guard to start to use the idea to help to integrate or spur their thinking on something. So being creative is one of the goals. Certainly, it's a tech prototype is to compare that technology to make the prize competition. If it's a tech development prize, we want to continue that tech development with the customer and the prize winner. And sometimes, I think I mentioned before, we do offer mentoring. So in some cases, like with the Coast Guard prize, the prize for Ready for Rescue, the finalist actually was looking at commercialization. So helping them understand the market, helping them understand licensing deals, how to connect to manufacturers was one of the goals of that prize.
Great. And Dusty, you gave a lot of information about, why SBIR was initiated as a program across the government. How do you translate success specifically for DHS right now?
Sorry, I was having trouble unmuting my mic. So I think, in discussing this, again, it was established to be able to help small businesses work with the government. I think there's a lot of different ways that we consider success. I mean, one is obviously being able to get the products to transition, but broadening the market space and increasing, underserved community engagement with DHS, making sure we're always pushing that technology envelope are all elements of what we would consider success in the program and partnering with industry.
Great. And I'll stick with you for my next question for everyone. Can you just give, one or two successes, examples of, is it a company, is it a technology, or an outcome for the program?
Absolutely. We have some really interesting technology successes. One of the ones that always seems to be met with some joy is a do not spoof technology, because we all love getting those spoofed phone calls, but this is actually one that kind of works the opposite way and is very beneficial. So there is a scenario where folks are being spoofed to industry. So there was a technology that was developed and is being used by the banking industry, where folks can call in and there can be a voice authentication provided rather than knowledge-based answers that scammers have 60% chance of getting right. And funnily enough, we only have 60% chance of getting them right, apparently, which I believe because I've gotten them wrong before. So it provides another way to be able to provide that protection and to avoid denial of service for not knowing the proper answers. The second one I want to talk about is a sort of a smaller hazardous gas and particulate matter detector that was developed originally for DHS and has had some success. But the other really great part about this is it was also picked up to be used by NASA in spacesuits and Department of Energy. So it's another way to kind of help show that SBIR is able to be leveraged and effectively use taxpayer dollars across multiple applications. I also will put out there that we're working on some more success stories as well that we'll be publishing very soon for things like screening at speed and mobile security. So
Great.
Stay tuned.
Great. So Kathleen, what's one successful example coming out of the prize program?
I mentioned a couple of them, but I always think one is really different is one of the prize competitions that we ran with the Coast Guard was about environmental buoys. And the winner of that prize was a recreational diver. He dove all the time, and he kind of knew the lay of the landscape. He understood the coral reefs, and he put together a great solution that he used off-the-shelf products to do so. He won $10,000. That's great money in someone's pocket, And the Coast Guard has tested that technology and starting to use it to see if it actually can help with lessening the damage to coral reefs and also help with giving a marker for shipping.
Great. So not something that would have happened without the prize and the connection of a citizen innovator diver.
That's right.
Kalpana, I know that Startup Studio is very new, but what's your success example coming out of the first cohort?
So I think that the real success out of the first year of the Homeland Security Startup Studio was actually having 5 teams make it through phase 2 and actually get to the stage of company formation. So those are now legitimate business ventures who have moved forward to license the technologies so that they can commercially exploit them and are now trying to execute their business plans. And so that in a really real sense is success, because those companies did not exist a year ago and they didn't exist and we're not trying to exploit an opportunity to develop a technology to meet a homeland security need. So we remain invested in their success and we're going to sort of see where they end up, but that's what we hope to see out of the Homeland Security Startup Studio. The federal government invests billions of dollars, right, developing early stage technologies. DHS in and of itself, right, we have a research budget in the hundreds of millions of dollars, but a lot of our technologies don't get to market. So we're looking at the Homeland Security Startup Studio as a way to mine technologies that DHS and other federal agencies have invested in, vet them, make sure there's a commercial opportunity, a real world application, and build teams around them who are going to be invested and committed to taking them to market. So that's the plan. Hopefully people will participate and we'll be able to roll out some of these real success stories.
Great, thank you. And Melissa, how about SBIP success?
Yeah, no, it's been a really wonderful experience working with the startups and companies who've not had any experience working with the federal government before, and just finding ways to collaborate with them. So one of the exciting ones that we've seen transition to Customs and Border Protection is a company that was developing entity resolution machine learning capabilities for commercial customers, like in auto industry. How do they make sure that they're reducing duplicative contracts and making sure that they're utilizing their money wisely? And so that same type of entity resolution capability is now being used by Customs in sort of their more traditional mission set of trade and the Office of Trade, and how they're trying to manage the amount of imports and goods that come into the country, and how do we ensure better supply chain management and supply chain security, and reducing the risk of allowing risky importers to send and import goods into the country, particularly those risky importers that use forced labor or are or just doing bad things or have a bad history of importing counterfeit goods. And so this entity resolution capability is helping them sift through and better understand importers that are trying to kind of maybe re-identify themselves as a different importer so that they could send their goods into the country and get through and make their way in. But we don't want those types of bad importers sending goods into the country. And so that's an interesting capability that now CBP and the trade group has access to. And in some ways, another element of that measure of success is seeing that these companies who haven't had a past history in working with the federal government, 40% of the companies that came in and didn't have any kind of federal government contract experience before now have and pursued further government contracts. And so for us, in terms of lowering that barrier of entry for startups to wanting to work with the government and being kind of their gateway drug into the federal government contracting space, that's kind of another level of measure for success for us too. So.
Great. All right, well, thank you, everyone. Hopefully that was helpful in terms of, talking about different ways of looking at success across our programs. Hopefully we'll have a few minutes at the end to do some question and answer. So we're still taking audience questions. First, though, I want to introduce Dee Parker, who is S&T's industry liaison. She may be able to answer some of your lingering questions before we get to the Q&A, because she is going to be talking a little bit about Insights Outreach to date, as well as available resources that we have. Dee, over to you.
Hello, thank you so much, Megan. And hello, everyone. My name is Dee Parker. I am the S&T Industry Liaison, your primary entry point into S&T. So today, really quickly, I just want to talk about the 2021 Insights Outreach webinar series and some helpful resources for you to access information on how to work with S&T. But first things first. This calendar year is coming to a close, and we are just grateful for the success of this 2021 Insights Outreach webinar series. We did a lot of work here at the Office of Industry Partnerships, but our team has worked so hard to produce 10 webinars, today's included, and bring in over 30 subject matter experts. We've had over 3,000 people to attend one or more of our webinars or even watch it online. We appreciate your time and hope you found this information really useful. For those of you that may not have caught some of our past webinars, I want to quickly go through the topics. These webinars are just as popular as the top songs on the Billboard charts. They were all #1s. So first, our first webinar was how to work with S&T. Industry Partnerships Director Megan Mail and yours truly gave an overview of S&T's unique innovation funding programs and navigated through opportunities for the private sector to adapt, develop, and commercialize technologies in support of the DHS mission. Our second one was engage with S&T and industry liaisons. And of course, this was my favorite one. I was able to pull some of those industry liaisons in the room on this webinar to just give them a way to explain their roles and how it's different from S&T and the DHS components. Be sure to check that one out. And then we went on to Finding Your Way through LRBAA. Webinar was our first deep dive into one of S&T's innovation funding programs, the Long Range Broad Agency Announcement. So Dusty Lane, who you heard talk earlier about SBIR, spoke about the LRBAA program and the 22 topics that are open year-round to fulfill DHS's R&D missions. Then we went on to partnering with DHS Unique Creators. Our program manager spoke about how cooperative research and development agreements create successful R&D partnerships with DHS. During our June webinar, SBIP Startup Spotlights, Melissa O gave an in-depth look at the Silicon Valley Innovation Program and inviting past partners to talk about their experiences working with the government through this program. Then July, we went on back to Dusty, and she gave her second webinar in the Insights Outreach series, Getting on Board with SBIR. If you want to learn more about the program, given the upcoming SBIR solicitations, you'll definitely want to check that one out. So we took a little break in August. We had to spend some time with our families and take a much needed vacation, but we went right on into September. But first, this quick little fun fact. Did you know that the song September by Earth, Wind and Fire hit #1 on the R&B charts in 1978? Do you remember? The 21st time of September. Okay, I didn't do that too well. So let me just go on to the topic. So the September topic was building partnerships through innovation and collaboration. It gave viewers an understanding of how S&T accesses innovative solutions through a broad network of other government agencies, including industry, foreign partners, and academia. And then one of our most popular webinars was R&D addressing DHS missions, priorities, partnerships, and demand signals, hosted by S&T's Office of Requirements and Analysis to talk about how S&T identifies capability gaps. Then for the last month, we held an important conversation on impacts of climate change, which Kathleen just talked about, and how DHS is incorporating innovative climate adaptation solutions into our resilience efforts to combat the devastating effects of our communities. Next slide, please. So now, if you're wondering where you can find a list of our 9 webinars that I just discussed, and of course, the one today will be posted very soon with the topics, just look at our Insights Outreach events page under the past webinars. section. All of the yellow highlights that you see here are links to the webinars and videos and presentations. We will put that link in the chat on this page. So remember to just grab your favorite snack and binge watch our webinars, Office of Industry Partnerships, Insights Outreach webinars. Next slide, please. So I also like to point out a few additional resources for you. The first is Engage with S&T webpage. This is a great resource for anyone looking for a full list of our S&T webinars, and also is a way for you to navigate ways to partner to see these partnership opportunities with S&T and DHS as a whole. So we also have on here our Insights Outreach, which will include our Deconstructing SBIR and LRBAA Today series, as well as SBIP Industry Days and Demo Week videos. So much more that you can see on our website. Next slide, please. So the second website is one I know you'll want to know about. It's about our current S&T funding opportunities. Great inside look on what's going on and everything that was just talked about today. So as we discussed, you can go there and get the information on each one of the areas that we discussed today. Next slide, please. So if you didn't sign up for our listserv when you register for today's event, no worries at all. So what we'll do, we'll be sending our industry outreach form after this event, and then you can fill out that form and send it directly to me at snt.innovation@hq.dhs.gov, and we'll add you to our list. Or you can just go ahead and visit our S&T page to access the form. So I really just want to say cheers, cheers, cheers to this wonderful Insights Outreach webinar. Back over to you, Megan.
Thank you, Dee. So we have just a few minutes for questions and answer session. So I want to bring everybody on, and I'll, ask a couple of quick questions. The first question that we have is for Melissa, and that is, people are wondering, you talked about the HPR topic. If they do not have a solution right now that addresses that particular call, can they still apply, and how do they engage with SBIP?
Right. So if the way our program works is that we have active opportunities with operational agencies. And so if I don't have a topic out there right now, there is nothing to apply to. The reason for that is we want to make sure that we're engaging with companies directly where we do know that there is a need, where there is an intention to acquire a product afterwards. That said, I'm actively working with a number of different agencies all the time. I've got 3 kind of in the pipeline that I'm having conversations with CISA on, with FEMA on, and with some of the securing soft targets teams. So if you're if HPR isn't applicable to you, just send us an email. You can find, through our website, you can get to our email, our team email box, ask to be added to our mailing list, and you'll get all the announcements about new opportunities that way. Just to comment about the HPR topic, if you've got something that's close to or related to the HPR topic, but maybe not necessarily specifically addressing either all 3 of those TTAs that I mentioned before, our operators are still interested in hearing about it. They're open to whatever might be out there that can help them. But we wanted to frame out the problem set in those 3 specific areas in particular. But if you think it kind of meets the spirit of what we're trying to do, they said to go ahead and still submit an application.
Great. Dusty, this wasn't a program we talked about today, but you are the one to answer it. We have a question about the long-range BA and whether you're expecting new topics to be posted soon.
Yes, so we will do an annual update, well, every year, hence annual. So we are working right now on making sure that we're preparing to post that. I am hoping that we'll be able to get that posted a tad sooner than we usually do. The last 2 times it's been in March. but we're hoping to get it out a little bit earlier. And so it'll include new topics, updated topics, and potentially some topics that may be removed.
Great. Kalpana, next question is for you. And you mentioned this a little bit, but what does DHS's support look like for the Startup Studio team's post-program?
So, we remain engaged with the teams. There have been times where, the teams need more information on how DHS works, and they might need to be connected either to specific components or program managers to discuss potential applications and opportunities within DHS. So we facilitate those connections. We are also arranging for briefings and updates from various S&T programs like SBIR, SVIP, the long range BAAs, because there might be opportunities for follow-on funding that these teams could exploit in the future. So demystifying S&T, the opportunities within DHS, that's an opportunity for us to provide post-cohort support, facilitating instructions facilitating introductions across the government, I think is very helpful for people who are trying to work with the government.
And we are running along, but we do have a lot of questions. So just one more to fit in for Kathleen, and that is about prize. Is academia, and specifically labs, academic labs, are they able to participate in the Cooling Solutions Prize?
So academia, we definitely want to encourage you, if you have a great solution, to apply for the Cooling Solutions Prize. I also would encourage you to go check out the eligibility rules, terms, and conditions of prizes on our webpage, because there is some stipulation when it comes to federally funded laboratories. So in other words, if you receive funding directly for the activity that you want to apply for the prize, that's probably not eligible. But if you want to have an individual conversation with us about that, please send an email to us and we'll answer that for you as well. But if you have, we really think this prize is tailored for researchers and for students in universities and other areas. So if you have a great solution, please go ahead and submit it. If you have a question about whether or not you're eligible, please let us know as well.
Great. We have a lot of questions in the Q&A, but we're already running long and want to be respectful of everyone's time. So that is all we're going to answer today. But if you included your name, we will certainly try to reach out to you directly for follow-up if there's any further conversation or we didn't answer the question. I really want to thank everyone again for participating, all of our program folks for coming on and talking about the opportunities, everyone who's participating today, listening, everyone who's participated this entire year through Insights Outreach. I hope that you found value in the program. There was a lot of information covered. And like Dee said, you can access all of our previous sessions on our website. Take a look if you missed any of them live. This might be our last Insight Outreach of 2021, but it certainly won't be the last time you hear from S&T and industry partnerships. So, keep in touch. We would love your feedback on what you'd like us to feature in future webinars. And we'd love to hear about your research, your solutions. And we are looking forward to seeing your responses to some of our open opportunities. Thank you very much for joining, everyone.